Hello, we are live. Are we live? Is it working? Hope the internet's working. Hope this is the audio's working. I think I was a little bit far from mic number one. Mic number one. Jonathan Stiano here. Oh, I could have put that as a thing. JJ Stiano is my name. I am a consultant plastic surgeon, and I could have written this before, but I didn't. And I am going to talk today about my new system. What's that? The PECAN system, which is a system that I put together talking about how to grow and build your private practice, which is something that I've been interested in over the last few years as I've built my own private practice in Birmingham in plastic surgery. I've got my own clinic, and I've become more and more interested in developing systems to build and enhance my practice. And so I put together this system, which I call the PECAN system, which I'll talk about briefly. And I'm going to talk specifically about one of the core aspects of the system, which is the C part of it, which is the content part of it. The PECAN system, or the PECAN approach to build a more valuable private practice, and it relies on these parts, which spell out the word PECAN, and these are the sort of core parts of your private practice if you want to develop a private practice that really is more like a business. And this is something that I have become more aware of now that I've got my own premises and I've got my own clinic. So I have to treat my practice more like a business, whereas before it was like a job. And certainly when you're in the NHS, as most of us are or were, I've left now, but certainly the large part of my life was in the NHS, and it is really more of a job. I mean, I know it's a vocation and what have you, but actually what you're doing is just doing a job. You are doing the thing that you're supposed to be doing, which is plastic surgery or orthopedic surgery or cardiology or whatever it is, whatever your specialty is, you're doing that job. When you are in private practice, you really, if you want to have a sustainable, valuable private practice, you've got to realize it's a business. It's not just a job. You've got to look at the whole structure of how you're delivering care to patients. In the NHS, you've got that buffer of the NHS, which has got a very, very strong, very powerful structure behind it to deliver the other aspects of patient care rather than just the clinical work. And there's huge systems in place within the NHS to ensure that clinics are full and patients are given information, and all these things that are important in running a business, they are taken care of when you're in the NHS, and they're done very well. But when you're in the private practice, it's really up to you to make sure those things are done well, and which is great because you've got control of it, but you've got to think about it, and you've got to think about these aspects of delivering your service to make it clear to patients why they should come to see you. And I believe that as doctors, we are duty bound to inform patients of what our qualifications are, what we can do and what we can offer, to allow them to make an informed decision. And that is what I see as the marketing side of it. A lot of people think marketing is a bad thing, but I just see marketing, public relations, call it what you will. It's about giving patients the information that they need to see whether it's right for them to have a certain procedure. And so that is how I've based my practice, and my practice has grown year on year over the last at least 5 years since I've had my clinic. And it's only going one way. and that's because I've got processes in place, I've got systems in place, I've got automation in place. So these are the things that the P.E.C.A.N system really focuses on. So just to briefly go through what the P.E.C.A.N system involves, the P stands for position, and that means you've got to think of what your position in the scheme of things is. So if you're an orthopedic surgeon or a cardiologist or a general surgeon, oh man, I should have put it on silent. Lost my mum. Then mum calling it a bad time. I didn't tell my mum I was doing this. You got to think, why would someone come and see you rather than the guy next door? What makes you better or different than the guy who's doing the clinic next door to you? Or when you look at the website, when you search for orthopedic surgeons, there's going to be 5 or 6 of them there, or well, maybe orthopedic surgeons, there'll be 10 of them, I don't know. And you've got to think from the patient's point of view. They're just seeing 10 names, and you've got to think of what your values are, what your ethics are, what you stand for, to separate yourself from other people. This might sound daunting, but it's actually very easy to do. The reason it's very easy to do because no one else does it at all. So your other guys will just say, I trained at Bart's Hospital and I spent 15 years doing a fellowship, and I do hips and knees or something like that. So that's no real differentiator from anyone else. So it's not actually, so you only have to do a little bit to differentiate yourself from other people. What is it that you want to be standing for? What is it you want to be remembered for? What do you want patients to know you for? Is it for a specific thing? Is it for a specific procedure that you do? Is it a specific way that you do procedure? Is it that you doing things with less downtime, more likely to be a day case? Is it that you're doing more complex things? Is it that you're offering a range of things, not just the surgery? You're offering more a holistic approach with the physiotherapy and what the aftercare. Is it more general? And to be honest, more general is better, particularly if you want to grow and scale your business. So is it things like the service that you offer? Is it the aftercare that you offer? Is it the preoperative assessment? There's got to be something that makes you stand out from everybody else. Because if you just say I'm a orthopedic surgeon who does hips and knees, or I'm whatever, I'm a general surgeon and I do bowel surgery or hernias or something, that's not any different to anyone else. So how is anyone supposed to choose you? They just flip a coin. Obviously, we've all got our referrals and our word of mouth recommendation, which is essential. But there's a huge amount of people there who are just searching and looking for that they don't know what they're looking for, and they just need some information from you to say why you're different. So position in the marketplace is number one. Secondly, you've got to develop processes that deliver excellence at every stage of the patient contact with you and your service. And that's the E. It's delivering excellence at every stage. So you've got to think of every stage that someone contacts you, and of course having the operation is important, and you've got to deliver excellence in that. That's a given. We're all right on that. We've done that in the NHS, and we've done that in our training, and it's a given that you're giving really good, excellent care and excellent service to patients. What you've got to think about is delivering excellence at all the other times. That means when someone first contacts you, when they phone you, or when they enter your website, or when they look at your Spire profile or whatever. When someone first looks at your profile or your presence, you've got to deliver excellence. And deliver excellence means giving information, having something that's worthwhile on your websites, having some worthwhile information on your website, some useful information which talks about your position, but also talks about the problems that they've got and how you might be able to help to improve the problems that they've got, and ideally can follow up. So it's always difficult when someone's visiting your website. How can you follow up on them? Well, you can follow up on them by trying to get hold of their details. There'll be a lot of people who are visiting your website who won't want to necessarily inquire, they won't want to book a consultation, or they won't want to phone you, but they're looking for more information. So if you can say, look, here's a document with 5 things you need to know about knee pain or whatever, and you, in exchange for your email address, then you've got their email address. So then you can deliver excellence. Then you can start to develop a rapport with them by sending out more information about who you are, what you offer, what your ethics are, and more information about what their problem is and how they can go about help solving their problem, which may or may not be surgery. There may be other things as well, which you can inform and let them know about. Same thing when they've come to clinic, same thing when they've had a procedure. All too often, someone comes to clinic, and we see them, and then we just never contact them again. We do a procedure, we never contact them again. It's about having processes at every step of the way that deliver excellence and show that you care. So that's the E. The C I'm going to talk about in a bit more detail in a minute, which is content, and I'll go over that once I've gone through all the P.E.C.A.N system. The A is automation. So most of us are one-man bands. We may have a secretary or a PA who may be full-time, maybe part-time. That's something to talk about, because I think you need help to do all this. But there's an awful lot you can do with automation. So that means getting systems in place that will deliver the automation, which will automate a lot of this. You have to give a personal service. You have to not be, oh, I'm not going to have robots and have, things that all obviously come out from a computer, like people complain when they get letters from the hospital and it's obviously just a standard letter. I'm not talking about that, because you can, as long as the information that you're putting into your systems is accurate, and you can segment patients, so you can segment people who have got specific problems and who are specific stages of the journey, then you can make the information you send out bespoke to them and relevant to them, but you can automate that. And you can use templates to automate information that you send out, but also adjust them and amend them in a bespoke way. But automation is absolutely critical, and it's just, there's no way to run a business by just relying on your secretary being nice, or by hand typing emails every time you send some information out. You have to rely on technology and automate and use systems to help you to automate that. And then the last one is nurturing. Now, a lot of people will think, this is great, I'm going to fantastic, I'm going to do all this stuff and make my practice better. But it's actually an ongoing thing. It's not just a one-off. You don't just do this stuff once and then it works. You have to nurture it. And what nurturing means is you have to look after it. You have to look at what the effects are of the things that you're doing. You have to look at your figures. You have to look at how many people are coming to your website, and how many people are giving you their information, and whether the things you're offering is relevant to people. If more people are asking for it, then it's more relevant. If they're not, then it's not. So, more of the stuff that works and less of the stuff that doesn't. You need to start sending out information and seeing if people are reading that information, see if emails are being opened and being engaged with. And if they are, that you're going to send more of them out. If they're not, then less of them. So you have to know your numbers. You have to look at your numbers. You have to look at the numbers of every step of the way, not just the numbers of, how much money you're earning at the end of the year or at the end of the month. You have to look at the numbers of the people who are coming to your website, the number of people who you're getting their information from, the number of people who are coming to clinic, the number of people having procedures, maybe having repeat procedures. Know what your numbers are, know what you're doing, nurture the process, and check that the things that you're doing are working. It's like an audit loop in the clinical work. Look at the things you're doing, seeing if they're working. If they're working, do more of them. If they're not working, change things to see if they are working. It's a continuous process that you're going round and round and round. So today I'm going to specifically talk about content, which is actually the heart of the whole thing. And sometimes people say, I say people, my wife mainly thinks, why am I doing this? Why do I help people? Why do I talk about how I've spent a lot of energy and time building my private practice? And then, I tell everyone about what I've done and all my secrets, what have you. But I think the reason I do it is, one, because I think when you're in the NHS and when you're a doctor, part of it is to try and help other people, and training is all part of it. But also, it's actually hard work. So I'm very happy to tell you all the things that I've done and all the processes I put in, all the systems that I use, because just by telling you this isn't going to give you a better private practice. It's going to give you the structure and the framework to work on. But the heart of it all is content. And content means information relevant to patients' problems. And that can actually sometimes be different to the things that you think that you want to talk about, because you might want to talk about the latest long stem hip replacement, or the some MRI enhanced heart scan or something like that. Patients aren't interested in any of that. Patients have got chest pain, they've got palpitations, they've got a painful hip, they've got a painful knee. They can't take non-steroidals because it gives them an ulcer. What can they do? Is there any other things? Patients, you've got to think about what the actual patient's problems are, and you've got to answer those problems with your content. And your content means information on your website. I encourage you to have a blog, um, social media, um, um, social media posts, video content is absolutely crucial. Audio content, podcasts. There's an awful lot of avenues that you can use. Now, it's important that if you're going to use an avenue, you've got to use it regularly. So don't think I'm going to do everything. I'm going to do Pinterest. I'm going to do Twitter. I'm going to do Facebook, Instagram. You can't do everything. So think about where your strengths are, whether it be video, whether it be written word, whether it be audio. Think about where your strengths are, but you've got to produce content, and that content goes online. It goes on the website to try and encourage people to ask for further information, and then it also goes behind the scenes. So it's got to be that information that you give them, that further information that you give them about what to do about their knee pain or what have you. And you've also got to follow up with patients. Following up, as I say, the nurturing, the following up is absolutely crucial. But you've got to have content to follow up with those people. You've got to have email sequences for the different problems that patients might have that can send out information to them on a regular basis to tell them more information, and to keep them engaged with your practice, because a lot of people will be inquiring way before they want to have a procedure. So you've got to keep in touch with them. Similarly, once they've had a procedure, you've got to keep in touch with them. If you want them to refer patients to you, if you want to get recommendations, which we all do, you've got to keep in their front of their mind. They've got to remember who you are. And the only way they're going to do that is if you just keep in touch with them, say, how are you getting on? Did you know the lifespan of this hip is so long? This is the things you've got to look out for, or don't worry about it because you haven't got to look out for anything, whatever it is. But it's all good medical practice. It's keeping in touch with people. It's good medical practice, telling people what to look out for and what sort of things, information, or the questions that they ask. The content that you deliver will be the questions that people are asking in the clinic every day. But you've got to deliver regular content, and you've got to be structured about it. If you come to one of my meetings, will you come to the meeting and think, oh, that's fantastic, do a blog post, do something straight away, but then you let it lapse. You've got to do it every week. You got to do, I would say every week is best. You can say every month. Every month I find is more difficult to remember to do it. Like first Monday of the month, I'll do this. Every week is better. And it only takes 10, 20, 30 minutes. And if you need to have 10, 20, 30 minutes in your month in order to develop that content. If you haven't got that time, then that's fine. Don't do it, but your practice probably won't grow. You won't get a practice that runs like a business. You'll carry on being busy in your job, but then that might be okay. But it's about thinking about whether you've got that time, whether you want to build your practice, whether you want to give a better result to your patients, because all this results in a better results for your patients. Because in private practice, certainly one of the major outcome measures is patient satisfaction, and that is what we're all after. Yes, we want to have low infection rates and good success rates with our operations, but patient satisfaction is the absolute key.